good, fam? It's your boy Dwayze on Blaze. You know the name, you know the face, you know the time, you know the place. And today we're back again with a brand new react. Matter of fact, we're about to get into a new Brando video. Go subscribe to the boy Brando. Okay, this is questioning the South African new wave, which is really referring to the new school, I guess. Your Blxckies, your nasties, your risas and whatnot. Would the new wave survive the CD era? Would they survive if it came to selling physical CDs? Okay, Brando's gonna get into this and his thoughts, and we're gonna react and comment on it. Let's get into it. Personally, I think they could. I think they actually could. It's just that the way the game has changed and the way they have to operate now makes it seem like it would be shaky. But whatever, let me just get it.
The world of streaming has changed the music industry drastically in the past few years. From an era of vinyls to CDs, and now being able to open an account on either Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, or if you like 10% of my subscribers, Fagaza. But with all this change in the industry and something new being introduced all the time, my question is, would the new age artists like A-Reece or nastyc or Blxckie survive in the CD era?
Now, off the dome, if we're just going to go off these guys, I'd say Reese is surviving the CD era. Nasty was kind of in the CD era a bit. He came at the beginning of the streaming era, really. But I do think Nasty would survive the CD era. Blxckie, yeah, I think Blxckie would, to be honest. I think Blxckie could do it. And Maglera, all these guys, actually all these four, what am I talking about? All these four I think would do well in the CD era, for sure.
To fully understand this, we need to compare the different types of risa sales certifications. Now for this video, we're gonna pick two new age artists and compare them to two OGs. So recently, Risa has moved back to the...
Yeah, new age. It shouldn't be new wave. New wave is like J Marley, Patrick Lee, and those guys. Although they might not be new anymore, but that was the new wave class. J Marley, Patrick Lee, Big Hash. I'm forgetting names. Anyway.
Original levels of certifications, and albums will now move from 15,000 copies sold up to 30,000 copies sold, which is equivalent to 25 million digital streams. And as you can see, the platinum went up by 20,000, which is now 60 million digital streams, and a gold single is 20,000 units, which is equivalent to 2.4 million streams, and just double that amount for platinum, and it's 40,000 units, that is equivalent to 4.8 million streams.
How does 40,000 equate to 4.8? Wait, what? 40,000 equates to 4.8 million streams. To me, that's not fair. I feel like they have to close that gap a bit more, bro. 4.8 million is only reflecting me selling 40,000. I don't know, man.
And it's 40,000 units, that is equivalent to 4.8 million streams. Okay, so guys, this gets a bit complicated. So we have mobile sales, which is ringtones, master tones, whatever that is, right?
Master tone.
For 22 master tones or ringback tones, that is one single. For 220 master tones or ringback tones, that is one album. And for music videos, if you wanted to go gold, that is 5,000 units. And for platinum music video, it's 10,000 units.
How do you sell a unit of a music video? Can you buy a music video? What? Shouldn't be views or streams. Views.
If you have DVDs, 10,000 units for gold. For platinum, 20,000 units. Digital sales, 1 permanent download is equals to 1 single. 10 permanent downloads are equals to 1 album. And for streaming, 120 streams is equals to 1 single, and 1,200 streams is equals to 1 album sale. So we're gonna take a look at our two OGs who had massive numbers of physical copies sold, and compare them to the new OGs of the new wave with massive streaming numbers, and compare whether either would be able to survive in one another's era. AKA's album Levels has been...
Okay, before we get into that, I do want to say that I think if you were to flip the roles, would be saying the same thing. If nastyc, A-Reece, they started in the 2000s and they were in the CD era, and then Cassper and Keenan and these guys came into the game now, I think we'd be having the same, or not now, but like in the past 10 years, I think we'd be having the same conversation either way. You know what I'm saying? I think both groups can survive. Both of them, aka Keenan, Nasty and them, everyone, all those names mentioned could survive in the CD era.
certified 7 times platinum, with
Crazy.
the last update from his label, which was July 2019.
Crazy.
So this means by the time the album had already sold around 210,000 copies. Strings and Blings was said to have over 60 million streams, and that every song on the album either went platinum or gold.
That's crazy. That's crazy that every single song on Nasty C's project on Strings and Bling went gold, at least gold. Every single song. Bro, people need to stop saying that Nasty ain't the guy. Nasty's the guy, bro. As much as we're saying right now, we're not sure of Nasty, but let's not act like Nasty's just, one of these guys running around, bro. This guy is about the numbers. Nasty has impact. Nasty has a fan base. He might be just on a bit of a downward slope right now, but I think he's gonna go right back up. So
both Levels and Strings and Bling are these artists' second albums, and we're gonna compare AKA's Levels in the streaming era, and then also see what Nasty C would look like in the physical copy era. Okay, so AKA sold 210,000 copies, which will multiply by 1,200 copies equals one album sale, right? And that's equivalent to 252 million streams, which is certified
Crazy.
7 times platinum.
crazy.
The last time Strings and Bling was updated, Nasty C accumulated 60 million streams, which would divide by 1,200 streams equals to one album sale, and the album is platinum, selling over 50,000 copies. The numbers through streams that the coolest kid.
Yo, that means AKA was on a madness, bro. AKA was one of the highest selling artists in South Africa.
In Africa's accumulating
at least in hip hop,
all the way
sure.
impressive, because if Levels dropped today, it would be breaking numbers that Nasty C wouldn't even be able to reach. And if Nasty C dropped his album in 2014, he wouldn't even have records to break. But let's switch it up and look at A-Reece and Cassper Nyovest. You know what, guys, I think I'm not going to do the Cassper and A-Reece one. Let me not embarrass the boy. Let me not do that.
Don't be like this,
But
Brando.
with this being said, do you think the artists considered the best in today's time really deserve that title? To answer that, it would only be fair to put AKA's latest numbers in the streaming world compared to Nasty C's current numbers. It's been said that Nasty C has achieved over 20 million streams for his latest album, I Love It Here, which is not yet gold certification because that's 25 million streams.
Okay, it's gonna be gold though. It's definitely gonna hit gold, but this album for me wasn't his strongest one, so I don't really see the replay value the way I do in his other albums. But
On the other hand, AKA just surpassed 99 million streams for his latest album, Mass Country. Basically 100 million streams. Then we divide that by 1,200 equals one album sale, which is 83,000 copies sold, which is almost 2 times platinum.
yeah.
Now this is based off the latest reported numbers, which are very recent.
But AKA, like this is AKA, guys. AKA been, he been in this game since like Nasty was like 8 years old or something. Since Nasty was like flipping 10 years old, 11, 9 years old.
And it's safe to say that the new wave does not understand SA hip hop. Many would say it's because of Amapiano, and I think that is BS. Because KO and AKA had to compete with Zahara, or Lera, or Mafikizolo, or Professor, and DJ Cleo, or Huru. These are people who pulled off record-breaking numbers, like Zahara selling over 500,000 copies.
Lolly,
which is 10 times platinum. And in the world of streaming, it would be 600 million streams. But okay, let's leave Zahara. Let's take it back to hip-hop, right? The ignorant fans will not understand this crisis. Dreamwork by AKA is certified 5 times diamond, which is international platinum.
Wait. The single Dreamwork is 5 times diamond in South Africa. Dreamwork! Now, don't get me wrong, I love Dreamwork, but that's like a random Lucy. That was just like a random drop. I remember that drop. Like, how is Dreamwork doing such numbers, bro? What? 5 times diamond. It would be platinum in the US. Dreamwork. Guys, do you guys know the song Dreamwork, bro?
Dollar sign got me in the good mood. Worth the dollar sign, that's my hood dude.
Nah, that's crazy, bro. There's other songs in AK's catalog I would think are doing way, way, way crazier numbers. Maybe they are. Maybe this just goes to show how strong AKA's catalog is. But that's crazy. A fact that a Lucy like Dreamwork is flipping 5 times diamond in South Africa, which means platinum in the US. Crazy.
Because it sold over 1.7 million copies,
That's
which
crazy.
made him the first South African
It was
rapper
even
to
on
go
an album.
diamond, but he did it 5 times, bro. If you want that in today's streaming world, it's over 2 billion streams. That's Drake numbers. And you guys want to celebrate that nastyc just hit 20 million streams?
Yeah, I
That's
want to be
sad.
happy for him.
And the slimes
That's sad. But 20 million is still, come on, bro. Like, it might not be what we expect from Nasty, but 20 million streams is still good numbers, bro. Still good numbers. Yeah, guys, I just think this is the first time in Nasty's, okay, maybe not the first time, because Zulu Man with Some Power also was a bit shaky, yabo. But I think this phase of Nasty C's career, I think, is the first time he's starting to see some dips. Like, mind you, Nasty's trajectory was like this at the beginning. And usually people's trajectories go straight up. You know, they have a time when they start to come down quite a bit. And then they go like this, or they go straight to the bottom, right? But I think Nasty will soon eventually curve up.
the ivyson are going to say I'm hating, and they're going to hate to admit that their artists are actually underperforming. The independent talk it's not even an excuse anymore, because Cass managed to keep up with a signed AKA and still managed to pull off close enough numbers with AKA, and he was independent.
Now, because remember, people don't recognize that me, AKA, and KO changed the game.
No, that's facts.
Yeah.
And
The
Ricky.
longevity.
And Ricky. Ricky was there too. Like, Ricky might have not had the craziest numbers like those three did, but Ricky changed the landscape, the vibe, the energy. Ricky made SA hip hop feel more authentic. You know what I mean? Like, of course, Keenan was authentically South African. All these three guys were, but Ricky, like, just he shifted the culture. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, anyway.
Of artists was 3 years. Yeah, you know, in South Africa, it's 3 years. It's like the one album that, you know, people like you for, the second album that people hate you for, and then the third album is the follow.
So I really think these artists are not connecting. Everyone is glazing. They're not really being honest about their music.
I will say that the music from a nastyc, A-Reece, and a Blxckie at this moment in time, if we're just gonna go with those guys, is not resonating as much as it did in earlier stages of their careers. With Reece, it's up in the air, you know what I mean? Because I feel like with Reece, he kind of caters to the same crowd. Whereas with Blxckie and nastyc, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I just feel like their music is good, but it's just not exceptionally good like it used to be. Like, it's not like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like when Blxckie was dropping like Siga, Mama It's Bad, Hold, Kwenzegile, like those were bangers, bro. Hits, bro. Hits, like back-to-back hits, all of the same project, right? When Nasty was dropping things like SMA, when Nasty was dropping things like Mama You Okay, when Nasty was dropping things like what's that other song that went crazy? A Black and White. Like, yeah, I don't know.
About the numbers, about
know.
the impact, about the influence
The music is
on
just
the
not
culture.
as good.
Someone like AKOKO can say they are comfortable with being national, that they don't need a market overseas. But the new wave needs serious help. And for this video, I'm not blocking any comments. I just want to see how many of you.
Hey, the more Keenan used to say that thing of he loved wrestling, the more I see it in his performances now. When I look at footage of his performances, you can just see that wrestler energy, bro.
Y'all are ignoring the fact that your favorite artists are underperforming. To the point where nastyc.
But also, hip hop is down. Let's not forget, hip hop numbers as a whole are down. These guys were performing when hip hop was at an all-time high. Hip hop is seeing a bit of a retracement. It's not doing the numbers it used to do. So also take that into account.
Needs an OG to get a national hit like Lemonade. KO still needs to make hits like Said There to keep us up and still break records, and they still say that the new wave is not underperforming. I just think that we need to leave this whole American thing. It's uncultured, it's whack if you ask me. Personally, I just think it's ass. The whole Jay Katana wave, the whole Kill Brady wave, leave it behind.
So Jay Katana, Kill Brady, Lil Nosebleed, all these youngins, bro. I have a take on them. I feel like for the moment the music they're making is good because it blends into what's happening on SoundCloud. Longevity wise, I don't think their fans are going to be listening to this type of music 5 years from now. To be honest, these guys' music is not for me. So I don't want to say it's trash because at the end of the day, it's not for me, bro. It's not for my age group, you know. But for the age group, it is. It's just I don't see it growing and maturing with those listeners. I see it sort of hitting a wall, hitting a ceiling. You know what I'm saying? At some point, if they don't evolve as artists, because we kind of saw the same thing with the new wave. Those who didn't want to evolve from that new wave sound and that new wave way of doing things didn't evolve. Niggas like Hash, Patrick Lee, J Molly, if he was still around, I don't know where he went to. But those guys evolved from the new wave. They elevated the sound. They started doing new sounds. They tried new things. If you're going to stick to the same sound, it's over, baba. These days, it's over, bro. Blxckie, all these guys who came from SoundCloud, once they went mainstream, they didn't stick to that SoundCloud sound. They started doing other things, diversifying, right? Now they do piano, they do pop, they do R&B, they do this and that and this and that. Whereas the guys who just said, I'm going to keep just doing this trap type stuff and hope for the best, ain't really work out, bro. You know, Hash just started doing more R&B, a little bit of Afrobeat vibes. You know, Cash CPT, look at Cash CPT. Also somebody who somewhat comes from that new wave era in a sense, and now he's gone mainstream. But he didn't keep the same sound he used to have back then. He switched it up. Now he's doing like Afrobeats. Now he's doing more R&B stuff. He left the more rapish stuff behind. Although Cash has always been diverse, you know. But yeah, anyway.
Let's just leave it behind, because if we're going to support that wave and put that wave up as the South African wave, as the new South African music, cancel it. Hip-hop is going to die.
Yeah, no, he's right there. If the Jay Katana sound and those guys Killed Brady sound becomes the overall sound of hip-hop in South Africa, the number one sound, hip-hop's gonna die. I won't lie to you. It's gonna die. Because there is no substance. That sound is targeted to such a small demographic of listeners. Your kids are like 13 to like 23, 24. I don't think anybody above 25 years old is really listening to Jay Katana like that, bro. I don't think so, bro. I just don't see that happening. They have the kids on lock, right? Okay.
Say if we do that, let's put up the Quellas. Why can't we hype up the Quellas? Why can't we hype up
Quellas? It's tricky because they're very trap, but at the same time they're mostly rapping in vernac. They lingo, their style. The slang is affiliated more to SA culture than anything else. I think the only thing about the Quellas for the most part is they took the trap sound, but everything else from them is South African, right? So I don't know what these guys, it could go either way. And plus there's so many of them, and you know the thing with groups never really work out like that, bro. When there's like 20, 30 people in the group, it never works out, bro. Like, I don't wish any bad upon them. I'm glad they're having this run. I'm glad that things are working out for them. I'm glad that they're seeing success. But all I can say is a group like this is not going to last. And especially if I feel like they're relying a bit too heavily on the trap sound, which is a dying sound. You know what I mean? But because they're doing vernac and because they connect so well with the streets, they could still have a pretty good run, in my opinion.
Other cultured musicians, other musicians that represent South Africa. we're not gonna break records in hip hop if we still have an artist like nastyc at the top. nastyc is fire. nastyc is dope. nastyc is an amazing artist, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. But he's very uncultured. He is not representing SA hip hop the way SA hip hop is meant to be represented. And if that's who the new kids are looking up to, we're in a very serious crisis. Because
again, he has a point with this. I do think now more than ever is the time to be authentically South African in your music, in your art, in your creations, in your endeavors. It's just time to embrace where you're from, bro. You know, because the world is watching and the world wants to see authenticity. They don't want to see clones and copies of them. They want to see what's new, what's fresh, what could we hop on, what could we, you know, take as a trend. So yeah, man, I don't know. With nastyc at the top right now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be at the top. I'm just saying nastyc, for me personally, has to diversify the sound right now. He has to get heavy into Afro beats. He has to get heavy into piano. He has to get heavy into other genres. He's got to start collaborating more with bigger SA artists, your Tylers. He's got to start collaborating more with your Blxckies, with your A-Reeces, with people even outside that genre, like people like even the Anvurd, people like who else? Like, I don't know. He just needs to, like, he does collaborate with other African artists, like Araya Star. That's her name, right? Araya Star. He needs to start collaborating with those heavy hitters, Burna Boys. You know, like, he used to collaborate with Davido and them back then, bro. That's what he should be doing right now. You know what I mean? When they're at the biggest part of their careers, the Burna Boys, the Wiz Kids, the what's that singer? Thames. Like, that's who Nasty should be linking with, you know? If he starts making music with them and making music stylistically like them, Nasty's gonna be out of here, bro. But I think Nasty's having a hard time letting go of just gonna strictly be stuck in hip-hop.
By the time that AKA was nastyc's age, he had broken too many records that nastyc will never break in his entire life.
That's shots.
nastyc will never have an album go 7 times platinum. With the kind of music he's making, it will never happen. That will never happen. Having a single go 5 times diamond, that's not gonna happen.
That is a fair critique. In South Africa, I don't think it's gonna happen. If he manages to blow up in the US with the sound he has now currently, okay, it could happen, but it's unlikely. But yeah, I already spoke on Nasty, man. Oh, it's over. Just like that, guys. So yeah, guys. Personally, I do agree with Brando in a sense where I feel like, yes, the new hip-hop artists are not performing as well as the OGs, right? Your AKAs, Casper's KOs, they broke records, shattered numbers. You know, they really broke the wall down, you know? Even going back to your double HPs, bro, like, you know, your Kuli Chanas, your, you know, these guys, they were doing things in a time where you had to sell a physical. You couldn't just log onto your phone. You had to go to the store, buy their CD, and they were breaking records then. So I will say, yes, I do think the new school is underperforming, but I also feel like it's also the landscape as well. It's like music is so overly saturated right now, right? Hip hop is overly saturated. There's way more hip hop artists than there were 10 years ago. Way more, especially in South Africa. Way more that have careers. So there wasn't as much competition. You only had a few people to select from. Back then, I also think that there wasn't as much validity in the game. Like nowadays, music is like this drop, it goes, does numbers for 2 weeks and then it's back down, right? Back then, things would grow over time. News would spread fast. I mean, news would spread slower. So the numbers would grow over time. Whereas now, it's out, shoots up, and shoots back down. You know what I mean? So it's a bit harder to, keep people interested now as well. I think there's podcasts. You're competing with so many other streams of entertainment now. Podcasts, streaming services like your Netflix and what. You're competing with streamers like who do their streams. You're competing with millions of other types of YouTube content, TikTokers content, OnlyFans content. Like, there's just so much more happening than there used to be. So I do think we can't fully say that these guys are underperforming, because it's a different time. There's so much more content in the world now. There's so much more for music to compete with now. So that you have to take that into account. But anyway, let me stop rambling. That's all I have to say about this. I still do think that these guys, if they were in the CD era with all the same settings or all the same conditions of the CD era when Cassper and AKA and KO had those conditions, then yes. But now you got to realize it's not the CD era, and market conditions have changed too. The same rules don't apply as they used to, so we can't just fully say these guys are flopping, bro. So yeah, but I will say they definitely need to focus more on being more authentically South African if they're gonna try and moon to the top of the globe, But yeah, anyway, it's been your boy Dwayze from Blxckie. Catch me in the next one. Yes,
can be begging on my knees. I'd be damned if I'm begging on the streets. Honestly, that shit is sweet. Tryna slide right out the grease. Just some things I gotta tweak. Folks been working on